I get the privilege, which is cool. My name is Harrison, by the way. I should probably tell you that. My name is Harrison, and if I can just, get elevate your life just just a scotch, I'll be good. You good? That's all that's all I intend on doing. So yeah, I get to the privilege of introducing this lady here. She is phenomenal to me. She has an entrepreneurial background. She gives us perspectives of action. She strengthens us. She is one person that is always in the trenches. She seemed really busy this month. So she's been with us this whole month. She seems really busy and just in the trenches. So I thank you for taking the time just to stay connected, to give us just a little bit, a piece, just a little bit of your time with it. Just shows a true leader and who you are with that. How many people also attended the New Year kickoff 2025? You found some place that you can go do that. Anyone? Anyone do that? Okay, if you didn't, you should probably try to find out. But the only reason why I say that is because one thing she mentioned was she asked who was going onto the incentive trip that is coming, which is Escaret. And so they announced the next one that is coming, and it's at the RD level. So 2026, Aruba. Okay. So let's all try our best to make it to that part. So thank you for that. In addition, she gives out tools, she aids us and just helps us to get to that next position. And we get a bird's eye view of seeing her run to RVP, that next position. If you can put your hands together for Miss Roxann Corralejo.
Thank you so much, Harrison. Good morning, everybody. I am home today, so I am calling you from Lubbock, Texas. I do want to give it back to Harrison. My goodness, he always talks about everybody else before he talks about himself, for sure. So that's truly a servant leader. He picks that up from other leaders. So thank you so much, Harrison. I love the fact that you're just always eager and willing to just jump in wherever needed. And that's so great. And it's so valuable. And I will talk about that here in a second in identifying those people that we can all work together and do something like that. And then, of course, I definitely want to give it back to Mr. Thomas. I did speak with him a little bit before this call. He was like, all right, I'm about to board. But he just wanted to just have a conversation before this. And that's that type of leader that he's flying, he's doing all these things, but just wanted to make sure I was prepared and ready to go. He always knows I'm prepared, but having that conversation really does help a little bit with the confidence as well, of course. On the topic that we're going to talk about. So I appreciate Mr. Thomas. I appreciate you, Mr. Harrison. You are so great and so valuable to the team and the group here. So, a couple of things I want to identify, and a lot this month, what we've talked about is just identifying certain things to kind of change your mindset. I've identified kind of where our business is going, where it should be going, why it's not going that way. And sometimes, if it's not actionable moves, people just don't do anything with it, don't do anything with the knowledge. And that's why I have my notes because I'm always going back and listening to maybe it's just an idea, but how can that idea affect what you're doing in your business or what you're not doing? So, just in business in general, I've identified a couple things that I think really relate to ACN as well, because ACN is a business. So, there's so much correlation that people don't realize. And they think, oh, it's network marketing, it's different. No, it's the same thing. So, some common mistakes in business that I've also identified that have been in ACN, and one of them is the wrong target. If you've ever been a business owner, you know how important your target is, who you're marketing to, who you're talking to. And with network marketing, we say do not judge, cast a wide net. Well, if we've been doing this for a while, like some of us have, you realize there are some people that just don't get it. And that's okay. So I do want to talk about targeting, and it's not to get you to prejudge people, but it's to get you to focus on where you spend your energy. That's the biggest part. And that's where a lot of people fall out of this, is because they're spending their energy in the wrong places. And it's because they're just trying to cast a wide net and trying to drag so many people around. And that part's hard. So we'll talk about the right target and where you should be focusing your energy. Another mistake is overcomplicating things. And we talk about this a lot. And as a new person, it's so easy to not overcomplicate things. But as you start learning things and start knowing how everything works and just We call it ACN vomit. You start throwing stuff on people and then they're just no longer interested. And we talk them out of what we're doing. That happens in business too. When you overcomplicate your business, people don't want nothing to do with it. They're like, man, I just called you to get the work done. So we'll talk about how we can not do that and we need to stop doing that. The third thing we're going to talk about today is a strategy. So I know for myself, sometimes I will just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And that's just not going to work. We have to have a strategy in place. And that's just in life in general. You have to have a map, a plan of where you're going. So having that right strategy and just not going with it and going with the flow. And with that strategy is priorities. So we have our wrong priorities and we tend to have those squirrel moments. If we don't have a strategy, those squirrel moments take hold of us and we start losing focus from the main thing. And that has been really, really common with me just in life, that things pop up all the time. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's do this. Let's do that. We need to stay focused on the main thing. And the last thing I'm going to talk about today is the one man show. Quit being a one man or a one woman show. And that's where I mentioned Harrison stepping in where needed. 100% love that always, because we can't run a business, any business, being one person. And a lot of people seem to think, oh, well, I can do it better. Or even their reps say, I want you to do it because you can do it better. And we're doing our team and our business a dissatisfaction by running our business that way because it's so hard on us. And we got into this for more time freedom or whatever your reason is, but not to work so stinking hard. So why not take that stuff just kind of off your shoulders? So first, the target. I think having the right target is really important. I want to give you an example of someone I talked to recently. She's not even a rep yet, but we're pre-launching her. She just wasn't ready, but she's supposed to get started this week. And I said, all right, I'm not wasting any time. We're going to sit down. We're going to have a presentation. We're going to talk to your people. We're going to pre-launch you. We're going to identify some services. So we identified the services. So when she's ready, we can knock those out that same day. We're showing people the business so that we can have people ready. So when she's in, they're in. What does that set her up for? That sets her up for an ETL position in one day. That is how people are doing this. I've had people qualified and hit executive team leader in 90 minutes because we've put this plan in place. And sometimes we're thinking, well, let's just sign people up right away. Well, sometimes they're just not ready. And you're just like, okay, well, I'll talk to them when they're ready. I talk to them when they're ready. It does require some work and sometimes they fall off. But when we're talking about targeting, so our very first home meeting, we have nobody shows up. 0 people. And she had confirmations and she even called people a couple hours before and they said, yeah, I got it. I'm going. But yet they forgot, which is so crazy. And having this conversation with her, because I sat down with her, I made sure the conversation was on point. She didn't give too much information, none of that. And are you sitting down with your reps to make sure that that's the reasoning and they didn't toast their people out? So I knew that wasn't the case because I sat down with her. But then I hear she tells me she's opening up a little more. This is not someone I know very well. So now I'm getting to know her and she opens up a little bit more and she says, well, my boyfriend tells me I need to surround myself with better people. And that's where the light bulb goes off. And I'm like, oh, okay, how so? He just says, well, my friends are they're just drama. They're single moms. They're in their own little world. They just don't seem to be wanting to improve themselves. And I want more and I want better. And so in my mind, I'm thinking that's great. I love it. Yes, bring those people that are closer to you, but let's go outside that too. I know you want to show these girls first, and that's okay. When the time's right for them, they'll show up. So that's still not prejudging. We're casting a wide net, but I'm telling her this is common. It's okay. Like, don't feel bad that nobody showed up. We're just going to have to go down our list and talk to those more professional people. So when we talk about targeting, who are we targeting? Are you targeting those people that need this business? We talked about earlier this month, go for the greedy, not the needy. Just because you think they need it, they're in their situation for a reason, and they're most of the time choosing that route. So it gets pretty daunting if we're not focusing on the right target. We want those positive, open-minded people. Yes, this is her group of friends, but she already told me she wants better, she wants more, she wants to do more for her kids. She wants these things, and that's that greedy aspect. She wants it, so she's going to go out there and get it no matter what. Her friends didn't show up, no big deal. We're going to schedule another one and we'll invite them, but we're going to invite other people also. We're not going to dwell on those that just aren't showing up, and that's okay. So that's targeting. So now overcomplicating things, I think that's kind of the simple aspect to take it. But coming from a regional director, people have questions. So it is really hard, and you have to get into practicing this with this. And I would say do it with your kids, do it with your family, but don't answer questions. Ask questions back. The person that asks the most questions wins. And it's so easy to get in that world when they talk about all these healthcare and questions and all this and be like, oh, you know what? We actually have a call specific for that. We can get you on that. But why are you interested in healthcare? Have you had a situation? Find out their needs and their wants, but maneuver your way without asking those questions. And they say, well, how does that pre-existing condition work? Oh my gosh, it's so cool. It's not even a forever thing, but we go over all that on our call that we're having on Tuesday. So you have to make sure you're on there. I promise all your questions are going to be asked. But do you know anybody else that might have some pre-existing conditions before then that could be able to join us also? Now we're getting them to recruit other customers or other reps without them even thinking about it, because now they're creating their list in their mind. So keep asking those questions. When I say don't overcomplicate things, is don't get into the weeds on the services, on the comp plan. We have a strategy for that. We have a system. We have everything in our back office, everything online. You were not that person, because as you're spending all that time with that one person and sharing them everything, people are passing you that might just be, yes, I love it. Let's go. Let's rock. And you're losing those people in that process. So no strategy. That one was kind of hard for me because not having a business background and jumping into business, and this is even before ACN with my locksmith company, is I'm like, okay, we're gonna break into cars. That's it. Let's just put us on Google and people will call us. Well, it didn't really work that way. I did not have a clear strategy until I realized, all right, this isn't working. We're spending a whole bunch of money. These big businesses are just overwhelming us. We need a strategy in place. And that's when I created a strategy for my business where I was targeting. So I identified a target. Yes, people needed me and they think of locksmiths as helping you when you get locked out. But my target market was a real estate community. When someone sells a home, people want those locks rekeyed. And it works better on me because then I can schedule appointments instead of all those emergency calls that just pop up all over the place. So again, that was targeting, and it was creating a strategy. Are you creating a strategy for your ACN people as far as how many people you're going to talk to? How many PBRs or PBZs are you going to have a week? And actually doing that. So when I say throw something on the wall, see what sticks, that's how it's growing my ACN business. Is okay, I want 10 PBRs, but am I actively scheduling them? Am I working with my team? Am I scheduling my own? Are we putting those in the books and actively helping them invite for those? So the strategy is not just having a goal, but putting stuff into action to make sure those goals are completed. We all have an RD date, but are you working towards that RD date or an ETL date or an RC date? Are you actively working towards it as far as how many calls you're making a day, how many calls you're making a week? And I know Mr. Thomas goes over here and talks about the numbers, which is all great, but are you being consistent with that? And I know that's hard because that's hard for me too, is maintaining that strategy and making sure you keep up with it. Yeah, Sherion's like, oh, I got it. So keeping up with that and being consistent regularly. And then with that is that one man show. So when we talk about, okay, I want to have 10 meetings this week. Are you enrolling the team when it comes to bigger meetings? So I had mentioned about the watch party that we had, or we had our own Super Saturday here in Lubbock and got that together in a couple days or just shy of a week. But I did not do it on my own. And when I moved to Lubbock, of course I did because I didn't know anybody here. But then when stuff started going crazy, I called a friend and I said, Mr. Trolley, I need your help. I need you to come down here. It is so easy to be that one man show to do all your presentations. And what's so great too is the presentation that we had, I didn't do the full presentation. I got someone up there in front of everybody who hasn't presented in front of people before, and she did half the presentation. I did the close, but she did half. And afterwards, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I was so nervous. I forgot what to say." But it's okay because I was there to clean it up. So when we talk about being that one man show, as long as you're there, it's okay to let people, and what Mr. Trolley used to say all the time is let them muck it up. It started with an M, you guys. Let them muck it up. And that was hard for me to grasp because being an oldest sibling, I've always was the one like, I got this, don't worry, I got this. But then as having to enroll them keeps them in the community longer. I've learned that. I've called other people on other teams that I knew were plugging in, and I said, "Hey, I need someone to help with registration. Can you be there a little early?" They were so thankful. They said, "Absolutely, I'm there. Whatever you need, I'll help out." And we had other teams plugging in, and I enrolled them into the meeting. I need someone to help set up chairs. I need someone to help with these little aspects of things. Can I have a greeter? Are you doing that with your team and the people around you? They don't even have to be on your team. Enroll somebody in your family that might not even be an ACN and just say, "Hey, I could use some support. Can you help me just to help open the door and walk people and show them where the registration table is?" Anything like that, what that does is it enrolls people into your community. So stop being a one man or one woman show saying, "I got this." And that was me also. So these are things that I actually struggled with and I've learned to adapt and implement into my business, which helps it run a lot smoother. And then wrong priorities, you guys. This one is a big one, especially for those squirrel people out there like myself. What do we do in ACN? What is our job? Anybody? I don't know if the chat's open. What do we do? Anybody got it? I think it is open.
We get customers, we train people how to get customers, and we go to events. And we go to events.
Yes. Get customers and get customer getters. Absolutely. Those are the two major things that we do. We get customers, we get customer getters. Training people and going to events are huge tools to help us do that, right? But our goals are, and thank you, Sharon. I appreciate that. She was like, "I don't want to type. It takes too long. I'm just going to jump in." Awesome. I love it. Take a charge. You see that, you guys? All was a missed opportunity. Y'all knew the answer, but she jumped in and she said, "I got this." But getting customers and getting customer getters. Everything else is just fluff in between. And we get distracted. We want to make sure they're qualified. We want to make sure they get their ETL bonus. We want to make sure they're trained properly. We want to make sure they get all the qualifications to be able to offer energy or healthcare. Yes. But we don't need to sit with them to do every single one of those things. And that was hard for me to grasp because I needed to be with them to do all of it. No, we get customers and we get customer getters. That's it. Everything else in between are those little distractions. So we got to set our goals. Our main priority, I want to have 10 people register in my business this month. Let that be the main goal. Now, how do we get there? Everything we're doing has to lead towards those 10 people and customers. We want customer goal too. So we want to make sure we talk to those people that don't sign up. So we do that over and over and over, but then someone has a question about Flash Mobile, and then someone else has a question about Zoom Energy. So you're over here talking to them, and you're helping them here, and you're helping them there. When you can just forward them to the website, you can forward them to Flash Chat, which I know that's hard. I want to help everybody, and I'm always there. So what I do, I had someone ask me about this is a specific thing that happened about Flash. And I'm like, "Yeah, let me help you out." And I'm walking through his website and I said, "Stop. Hold on one second." I opened up the chat button. I was like, here's chat. They can walk you through the process. And I walked away. They did it with chat. They got the extra data that they needed, did what they needed, while I was over here doing something else, getting customers and getting customer getters, and they were able to resolve their issue. By doing that as well, we're creating that independency. So now when their customers have an issue, they know how to get on chat and they know how to do it. So we're creating that proper duplication that we're not there holding everyone's hand. But the problem that we get to is that we're not making the main thing the main thing. We're doing all these little things. So now everybody else has to think all these little things need to be taken care of. They're drifting as well too. Well, I wasn't able to talk to people today because I had all these things that pop up, customers that had questions, all this. And now they're not getting customers and not getting customer getters because they're problem solving. When they're problem solving, that gets into the management mode. When they're in the management mode, they're not making any money. When they're not making any money, they start drifting away from ACN because some people are like, hey, it's not making me any money. I don't want to do this. But they stopped getting customers and they stopped getting customer getters. So you guys, I hope you remember these. Wrong target. Make sure you identify your target. Does that mean to prejudge people? Absolutely not. But where are you spending your time? Yes, Kush is like, nope, we don't want to do that. And I do that all the time too, because some of those people that just are on the fence, I want to spend time with them. I want to answer those questions for them because I know the answers, but most of the time they just don't sign up. And you know what? If they're not as excited, maybe they're just not your right target at the moment. That's okay. I said, you know what? That's no problem. We're going to go over all those questions over training. Let me get you that Zoom link and you can jump on. Well, why can't you give me all the answers now? I was like, I absolutely can, but I promise you it's more efficient if you can jump on Zoom. If they don't want to jump on Zoom, that's on them. They're not the right target. It's okay to walk away. So wrong target, overcomplicating things. I'm going to give you guys, I do have a little bit of time, Cole. I want to give you guys a little example of overcomplicating things. So for myself, when it comes to my people, I want to make sure I'm following the system and everybody knows the system. I'm not going to present to my people. And I had met someone at the airport and I said, great, let me introduce you to someone. And I had someone do a presentation for me. And the way that they were speaking on this call, and the person I had met is a engineer by trade. He's gotten into real estate investing. So he had some properties in like a small apartment complex in different states and where he lived and stuff. And so I was like, awesome. And it was in an electric state, electric and gas state. So I was like, woohoo, I can get all these apartment complexes when they close. So I was really excited, but knowing his busy schedule, him trying to hire people to run that aspect, because he's still working full time, those 40 to 60 hours in his engineering job that he's trying to get out of. So this is something to just kind of supplement that. And I told him, we're going to monetize these expenses that you're already going to have. You're already going to have to pay that electric bill. And you can get some of that income back. Monetize those expenses. I saw Sherry pull out her pen. Yes, exactly. They want to do that. So I had someone, and the way he was speaking, going through, it was just a presentation, y'all. The way he was going through the presentation, I'm like, man, you're talking me out of ACN. Why are you making this sound so stinking hard? But he was talking about how much work that goes in and how much time you need to spend on it, and then attending all the events. And I'm like, holy cow. And sure enough, he talked my prospect out of ACN because he overcomplicated things. All we got to do is acquire customers and acquire customer getters. That is it. This was someone that had a whole bunch of customers already with his own businesses. So that's going back to overcomplicating. Make sure you have a strategy. Write it down. Look at it every day. What are you doing daily? What is your strategy? Not your goals, not your date. Those are always great to have, but have a strategy of how you're going to get there. And if it's not working, make sure you revisit that strategy because they do change. But remember the main things, you guys, because sometimes I had an issue where it was, okay, we're recruiting a whole bunch of people and this is freaking awesome. We're hitting the charts. We're number one. Like that means we're doing a good thing, but people aren't getting qualified. And so then I would sit down with them and I'd walk them through the process and I'd make sure that they had everything they needed to get accredited for Zoom and all this stuff. And then guess what happened to our numbers? They started declining and they started going down and we weren't bringing in as many people, but there were people that did got qualified. There were people that actually sat on those trainings that I sent them. Those are people that actually got accredited themselves because I gave them the links to do it and they did it. And those people that did it themselves are still around today. And those people that I spent hours with are no longer here. Right? What the heck? So absolutely make sure you have a strategy in place. One-man show. Stop being a one-man, one-woman show. I know everybody here, I'm preaching to the choir here because you utilize these things, which are great. This is how you get out of being, even if you don't have a team to enroll, this is how you get out of that, is introducing people to Mr. Thomas and saying, hey, I have someone I want you to see one of his calls, or introducing him to other people through Zoom in the world of ACN. It's so great that we don't have to be that one person, even though we're the only one in our area. And then wrong priorities, you guys. We need to stop those squirrel moments. We need to dig deep, get focused. And I'm saying I'm preaching to myself too. Let's keep the main things the main things. And I'm saying that over and over and over because it's so important. Let's stop getting distracted. If people aren't getting qualified, it's because they don't want to. They have all the tools. As long as you gave them the tools to do it, they're just not wanting to do it, and you're going to have to drag them through the whole way. And I've actually told people, hey, it's okay if this isn't for you, it's no big deal right now, might not be a right time, let's get your money back, and maybe within 6 months this might be working for you and we can implement this then. It's okay to say that because it doesn't matter if we sign up 100 people. We can sign up 100 reps, but nobody makes any money unless the stuff's actually getting done. And now you're spending so much time with someone who doesn't even want to do it. They thought it was a great idea, but they don't want to put in the effort. So stop squirreling. Speaking to myself, we get customers and we get customer getters, and all the other fluff in between is so great and it helps us get there. But let's make sure we're focused on those two things. So, you guys, that's all that I had today. I'm really excited. It's the end of January. So, let's put some stuff into process. Let's implement the stuff that we've learned throughout this month, throughout these years, and actually create some activity. Let's go out there and put stuff in action. Are you cold peaking? Are you talking to people? Are you doing your own presentations? Because she's like, yeah, I got my own people too. And I love that. Do what you preach as well. Don't rely on your team. So that is it today. I will go ahead and hand it back to Mr. Harrison. I appreciate you. Let's go out there, you guys, and let's crush it.